So we're going to be talking about Christmas dinner. As a matter of fact, we're actually going to be preparing a special holiday sole purpose treat. What are we cooking again?
Mac and cheese.
Macaroni and cheese. So mommy's special or Monica's special macaroni and cheese is what we're cooking today. So
we're cooking vegan mac and cheese.
No, we're not cooking vegan mac and cheese.
I know. I need to cook vegan mac and cheese.
Well, that's good. That's good to know that he likes vegan mac and cheese. We will make vegan mac and cheese another day, but today we are making regular macaroni and cheese.
We're making traditional macaroni and cheese this morning. And so thank you again for joining us on the Sole Purpose Show. And then listen, we know that for Christmas dinner, so we're also going to be talking about something else here because during the course of our cooking, we know that what happens at dinner time, or excuse me, Christmas time for most Black families is you always have certain people that get uninvited to Christmas dinner for some number of reasons. And so today we have chosen to, in addition to preparing this special meal, preparing the special dish, we have chosen to share with our audience who gets uninvited to Christmas dinner this year.
And
so today's theme is called Uninvited. Please carry on.
Okay, so this is either going to go really, really good or it's going to be really, really entertaining and funny. And for our radio folks, I will try to speak such that you all can follow what we're doing as my husband goes to this list of people that we're not inviting. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our noodles, which we already have. I would ask you that you pass me the noodles. And so what we have, put my tea to the side. So you can use regular elbow noodles. What I use are corkscrew noodles. And so for those of us, I've already washed my hands. For those of you all who are watching us, the corkscrew kind of looks like this, looks like a corkscrew. To me, it makes a better mac and cheese than elbow macaroni. And the recipe that I'm doing is really my mom's recipe. So I hope and pray that she does not mind me sharing it with everybody.
Should be all right.
Hey. So anyway, so you pour your noodles. We've already, and you cook them al dente such that they're not super soft.
Al dente is an Italian word that means something.
Right. It means not, I don't know. It means like not too well done, but kind of. Okay. So they want to have a little spring. And I hope this bowl is big enough. Okay. So when you put, actually, I'm gonna get a bigger bowl. Let me get a bigger bowl. Oh, goodness gracious.
While my wife is doing that, I did want to make a comment. So when I talk about sometimes family getting uninvited, I want us to keep in the perspective. Family is family, right? So once you are in the family, you can't break up with your family. But there are times that some people do things throughout the course of the year that gets themselves booted from the invite list. And that's who we're going to be talking about today.
Okay. So this is I don't know, I didn't measure it before I boiled the noodles, but typically what I do is whatever pan I'm going to use, I go ahead and I put the dry noodles in the pan just so they cover the bottom, because y'all know when you boil noodles, they expand. So once we boiled them, this is about 8 cups of corkscrew noodles. I'll put them in our bowl. Yep. If you would put that, I have a couple of sous chefs here. Okay, stop, Mom. Let go. All right, and so then we're gonna crack. You want to crack the egg? We're gonna crack.
I've never been a sous chef before. I don't know what that means.
You just help. You're just there to look nice and help. Well, actually, that's probably not. You're more of a kitchen assistant. Miles is my sous chef. Sous chefs actually cook. Okay, so you're gonna crack the egg. Remember what we talked about? Crack it on the counter. You're gonna crack 1 egg. Okay, I think that's Good job. Okay, you gotta use your thumbs. You're gonna crack the egg and put the egg. Okay, that's good. Don't get any shell. That's okay. That's okay. Nope, we did not. I know. Hold on. Stay right there. Hold on. Get you a paper towel. Here.
I'm your assistant.
You're my assistant. Yeah, we're going to wash your hands. Get your hands off the egg. With the egg off of it. So we're gonna so you put 1 egg in your noodles. No, the egg is just kind of going in the noodles. You're gonna get 1 egg and you're gonna put it in your noodles, and then you're gonna mix this together.
I'll get my own.
Mix the noodles and the egg all together. Go ahead, Keith. We can talk.
Okay. Well, so, you're talking.
Okay, so I'm sorry. So we're gonna mix the egg in your noodles, and then what I do is I season my noodles. And so go ahead and season the noodles. You're also gonna season your cheese sauce, but just season the noodles a little bit. But with a little bit of pepper. You want to keep stirring it, Miles?
Yeah.
A little bit of pepper. Okay. Be careful. Don't knock the noodles out. A little bit of pepper. My husband has never been. Sorry, baby. My husband has never been in the kitchen when I made this. So this is actually a learning experience for him.
Like I'm gonna make it.
You may. And then some seasoning salt.
Okay, the seasoning salt.
Just a little bit in the noodles. And then most people, oh, that's okay. We'll put it back in there. And most people don't do this, but I will put like a little bit of onion powder in my noodles. Not much, just a little bit. And then a little bit of garlic. Oh, goodness. Okay, I won't put it on your hand. I'm sorry. But listen, when you're in the kitchen, you're going to get dirty, little boy. Okay. All right, so you're going to mix all that up together. Mix it up real good. So my sous chef Miles is mixing everything together. And your assistant is still sniffing pepper and season. I'm sorry. All right, so once that's done, you're going to put the noodles to the side. It is slimy because you have the egg in here. One of my frat brothers, Manny, is watching this. Hey, what's going on, brother Manny? I want to take a moment just to shout out and thank my fraternity brothers. Last week's show was just phenomenal. We talked about brotherhood. We talked about black men and the challenges of brotherhood. So a quick shout out to Brother Kasim Mabry, who is my chapter president. Brother Reggie Mitchell, who is Beta Nu legend. Him and his dad from FAMU. And also to my brother Howard Harris. We were talking about the Founders Day of Alpha Phi Alpha. So I just have to shout out, give them some thanks. Okay, so go ahead. I think we're going to do all the fraternities Founders Day moving forward. Okay, I think it's a good idea. Okay, so as you talk, so the next thing you're going to do is because we're making a cheese sauce, we're going to cut up our cheese. And I like cheesy macaroni and cheese, and I use different types of cheeses. So we have a sharp cheddar, and then we have a medium cheddar. And you can shred them if you want. Like some people just like our oldest makes a phenomenal mac and cheese, and she shreds her mac and cheese, which is fine, but that takes a whole lot of work. The cheese sauce for me is much easier, and if you want to shred some, you can. But that is we're gonna cut this cheese in blocks, and we're cutting this in blocks. Keith, you go ahead and start with your uninvited list. All right. So first on the list, and not because he's the worst offender this year, but I since we mentioned him before, I had to start with Ice Cube. Brother Ice Cube has a long history of keeping it real, especially when it comes to Black causes and issues and things that are important to Black folks. But I think what he found out, which was the same thing that Steve Harvey found out, is that you have to be really, really careful when you allow yourself to become a photo op or a shout out for, in this case, the enemy, because that's exactly what was going on. So we went through 4 years of hearing a bunch of divisive rhetoric from our commander-in-chief. And all of a sudden, because he decides he wants to jump into the political arena, he gets a couple of experts and joins together, and they decide that they're going to accept an invitation to meet with the Trump administration to talk about the Black agenda, right? And what was bad off the bat about the whole kind of Black agenda from the Trump administration was the title alone, which I'm still pissed off about, and that is the so-called Platinum Plan for Black America. Somebody had an idea that was going to be the right thing to call this because us Black folks, us Negroes like the whole platinum thing because it's better than gold. Look from the jump, it was very patronizing. It was wrong from the jump. His whole comment, his side of it was that sometimes you have to meet with the people who are actually in power, who can actually influence change. And so that was the reason why he decided to do it. The Democrats apparently didn't respond to him in the manner that he thought that he deserved. And so he jumped out there and actually wound up making a fool of himself. So his reaction was even worse. Yeah. Because at first he was all, y'all just don't understand. And then when he figured out that wasn't going to be good enough, then he got all pissy and just finally came out and just said he was voting for Donald Trump. What? So did he ever say he was voting for Donald Trump? I think in the end he just kind of came out and just said, "Screw us, Trump 2020 or whatever." Oh, I don't remember. But it was just he handled the whole thing really, really badly. Yeah. Q, you still our boy, but unfortunately for this Christmas dinner, he is what? Uninvited. Well, what I do want to say is, I think for me, I know he got people came down on him. A lot of people came down on him. You have some people defending him. And, I don't, take away from the fact to your point that Ice Cube has definitely been a person that's been pretty vocal in terms of uplifting Black folks. I think for me, the issue was that when people checked him and just even Roland Martin brought him on his show and was expressing to him, you know, how misinformed he was or naive he was to go and visit with the president without at least having had conversations with like subject matter experts
the
on the
people
issues
who are
he
actually
was
in
talking
the
about.
struggle, the people who are actually on the front lines of these issues.
Right. And then saying, you know, well, the Biden team would meet with me. And then you come to find out, I need you to, don't, because this is really sharp. Then to come to find out that he was invited. Okay, stop now. Then to find out that he was actually invited to meet with Kamala Harris, Senator Harris, VP-elect Harris, and her team, and I think it was Killer Mike and some other people. And then he made a decision that he wasn't gonna go. So that to me was kind of the nail in the coffin. Is look, I was going to extend you grace, but then come to find out, okay, I need you cut these up. Cut these. See how small these are? Cut those up a little bit smaller. That was a nail in the coffin for me. So anyway,
Our sister Kim is watching. Hey, what's going on, fam? She's invited to Christmas dinner. Ice Cube is not.
So just to continue with the macaroni and cheese. So you cut them in cubes. You're gonna cut the cheese in cubes. We'll keep cutting. That's fine. You're gonna cut them in cubes. And I probably will add some more cheese. So we have sharp cheese, mild cheese. You can add whatever cheese you want. I've added Gouda cheese to mine for a more smoky flavor. To me, the cheesier the better, and it makes for a better macaroni and cheese. Okay.
So one of the individuals that came to Cube's defense was his boy, Snoop Dogg. Uncle Snoop, we've decided to first we withdrew your invitation to Christmas dinner, and we had a little bit of a change of heart because I thought, you know, earlier in the year you really got yourself uninvited by going after Gayle King the way you did, because you handled that very, very wrong. Matter of fact, I think you called it a B word during his little Twitter rant. Gayle King asked some real pointed questions of Lisa Leslie on the heels of the Kobe Bryant death. It was a very emotional time for everybody, so we were all feeling some kind of way about it. And so Gayle just kind of went there as a journalist. Snoop's reaction was really, really off base. He came back and apologized, and he came back and apologized in a real man way. And it really kind of hit me to my core, the way he came out and said, look, basically, this is what real guys do. This is what real dudes do. We fess up when we're wrong, came at it the wrong way. He was emotional. He admitted that. So he really kind of redeemed himself throughout the course of the early part of the year. And then, of course, he jumped to Ice Cube's defense and said, look, we got to, before we jump on the brother, we got to at least understand kind of where he's coming from. And so he almost got uninvited again because, as far as we're concerned, Ice Cube was in the wrong. But we decided to allow Snoop back. We decided to give his invite back to him so he can come. Now, the caveat is you can come to Christmas dinner, but you're gonna have to sit at the kids' table. So he will be sitting with Miles.
So wait a minute, did anybody else have did you have a kids' table growing up? You had a small family though. You have a small family.
No, we didn't.
So I have a big family, and so in our family, anybody who has a big family, you all can appreciate this. In our family, you know, it was coveted to be able to sit at the grown-up table, and we had like a couple of children's table. Like we had a little tiny children's table. Then we had like the teenager, middle school, probably teenager, kind of middle schoolish, little upper kids table. And then we had the adult table, right? And so my cousin Tony, who is 3 years older than me, 2 years older than me. So one Christmas, Tony got to sit at the big person's table, and she was acting, she probably won't remember this. She was like, I don't have to sit here with you all. And so all of us were like, well, you're going to be the one by yourself at the adult table, not being able to, because, you know, you're at the adult table, but you still can't engage in adult conversation. Whereas the kids are at the children's table and we're having a blast. And so if I remember correctly, she was at the adult table and just kind of looking around. And eventually she kind of came over to where we were. We were like, you back. So
know your place.
So Stu may actually have more fun at the children's table than at the adult table. So that may not necessarily be a punishment, but he's disinvited from the.
Speaking of family, because this is all about family, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and happy Kwanzaa to everybody out there. Miles, guess who's watching you?
Who?
Alicia. Say hello to Alicia.
Hi, Alicia.
There you go.
Okay, so the next on our list, as we are cooking,
Dad.
are we going to make sure this is on the right temperature?
I think I need a little bit more help.
Oh, just cut up some more cheese in your, just cut them squares. I think you're doing a phenomenal job. So you're gonna make a roux for your
Okay, I'm done.
cheese sauce,
Good job, man.
bechamel sauce.
Bye. I want to eat this one.
Okay, this is just butter.
I want to do it.
Okay, here you can put. Let me cut it and you can put it in the pan. How about that?
No, I'll cook it.
Okay, well sometimes you have to just follow instructions.
Hey, speaking of
All
Gail
right.
King, Sister Gail, who again has always been someone thought of as down for the cause. During that same interview, she admitted that she may have asked some tough questions that weren't received the right way, and she allowed the network to really kind of manage her narrative around how that interview went. So she was not happy about that. So while those of us from the community were not happy with her going after Kobe's legacy during that particular period of time, again, it was very emotional. She came out pretty strong against CBS and said, I don't appreciate the way y'all took that whole interview and turned it into me going after Kobe's legacy, which put her in a bad spot. Yeah. So Gail did not get disinvited or uninvited.
No, she can come and she can cater and buy her, and Oprah can buy the whole dinner for all I care.
Bring Oprah with her.
Bring Oprah with you and you can pay for all the food. We'll cook it.
In case anybody's wondering, this is in fact holiday eggnog, and we will just leave it at that. All right, so
we have disinvited Ice Cube.
We disinvited Ice Cube.
Snoop is
coming, but
he's coming, but he's at the children's table. Gail King is not disinvited.
No, but okay. y'all's boy, Lil Weezy, what happened to him this year?
What is? I mean, he's been off my invitation list for a while.
Maybe
for a while.
Maybe.
It's just he's kind of like one of those cousins that you know is gonna come and create kind of confusion just because he's kind of he comes, but you always wonder, like, should I put a plate out for him and cover it with foil? You know he's gonna come, he's gonna smell like ganja. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be like extra with him. So he was kind of always teetering on the or you tell him that dinner starts at 5 when it really starts at 2. So or you tell him the right time and he shows up whenever he wants to. So he's that cousin. So
but he went straight MAGA this year.
Yeah.
Actually I think he met with Trump to discuss the agenda, the black agenda with him. Proceeded to kind of come out with his. I think he put the hat on too, didn't he? He put the red hat on. I think he took a picture with the red hat on.
He may have.
Look, not this year. Maybe next year. There's some things that can redeem yourself, but Weezy, no. You Lil Wayne is what? Uninvited.
So he's eating cheese. You can't listen, Cook. The cook can't eat the food. Stop eating cheese. We need the cheese for the cheese sauce.
Okay, I will eat the rest.
So for those people who are on the radio, we are now melting our butter for our cheese sauce, our bechamel sauce, and we have our cheese cut up into cubes. And once this butter melts, we'll add some flour, and then we'll make a roux, and then we'll add some milk, and then we'll start adding our cheese.
He mixed it.
Yes, and then we're going to mix it all together. Correct.
So a roux is technically that's like a New Orleans kind of thing, right? Like a Louisiana.
Well, if you're making don't eat any more cheese, please.
Or maybe a French.
Okay.
I don't know because I'm not a real chef, but I know like if you make gumbo, like when I make my gumbo, when I make this cheese sauce, you have to make a roux, and the key to the roux is you have to keep. It gives anything kind of particularly macaroni and cheese. It gives it like a nutty flavor. Yes. So yes. But the key to the roux for those who are watching is to ensure that as you're adding the flour and the butter, and you have to continue to stir it because you don't want to burn the roux. If you burn the roux, you got to start all over again because your dish will taste burnt. So so it's not good. So you have to kind of watch it to make sure it doesn't burn on the bottom. The flour and the butter don't burn.
That's very cool.
People can't see you on TV.
You're supposed to be looking at the camera.
So anyway, so who's next on the?
So I have to admit, I am a Power fan. I've been watching the show from the beginning. I was a little concerned after the.
Are you watching Ghost?
I was concerned because I knew that Ghost was dead. I hope I didn't spoil it for anybody who's been living under a rock. But so Power 2 Ghost is a very, very, very good show. It's very well done, very well written. Mary J. Blige has been reinvented, recreated herself.
I heard that Method Man is on.
Method Man is outstanding. What is that smile? What is that? What's going on here with that? Yes, he's on. He's one of the cast members of the show.
I know you're not talking when Lala was on the first Power, right? Exactly. Continue.
Okay, so anyway,
continue. So Method Man is on there.
But Power 2 is very good, and we all know that show's executive producer is Curtis Jackson, aka 50 Cent. And you know, here's the thing, and I got to go on record as saying I don't have any problem with Black Republicans. I don't. I was registered independent for many years. But when you decide to kind of go full MAGA and talk about you're a rich Black man who don't want to pay no taxes, that's what the issue is, and that allows you to align yourself with a certain individual. Well, I don't even like saying his name. That gets you uninvited to dinner, lunch, cookout, everything.
Well, then he reversed his position when people started saying
too late.
Don't watch Power anymore.
Too late. Oh yeah, when people start hitting him in the pocket, but then he decides Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, you are what? Uninvited. Sorry.
So this is my thing, and I haven't watched Ghost at all. It just once Power, and I really didn't watch the last. I knew Ghost died, but I didn't really watch the last couple of episodes of Power. But because my attention span got to be too long. Or the story, if they didn't develop a story enough, I think so. It eventually kind of. The beauty about Power was that you were always kind of shocked at the end, kind of like Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones at the end, you were kind of shocked at the end about what was going to happen. So that was for me, that was the attraction to Power. And in the last few episodes that I did see, I was like, oh, that was to be expected. So it got to be, you know.
Roger, what's up, fam? How you been, man?
It got to be pretty expected. But anyway, so 50's always been kind of, since he started, which, you know, no shade to him, but you know, when you start making that money, then your mindset gets different. You try to be down for the cause, but the color you see more so is green, you know. But I think that you have to understand that, I mean, you know, have an appreciation for Trump paid nothing in taxes. And what Joe Biden's plan was that if you make over $400,000 a year, there is something called to whom much is given, much is required. If you are making over $400,000 a year, which is what it said, it's the tax plan was that anybody making under $400,000 a year would not pay more taxes. If you made over $400,000, you would. Shoot, to whom much is given, much is required. Pay them taxes. Because you have teachers right now that are working 2 and 3 jobs, you know, trying to make ends meet in addition to paying more taxes than the richest 1% in this country. So, okay.
And there's a whole lot, and we're going to do some more instruction here in a minute. But there's a whole lot of folks, entertainers and celebrities especially, who have made millions upon millions of dollars through the years, who've gotten themselves into IRS tax trouble just for the same mentality. When you make a lot of money, you have to pay Uncle Sam. Mm-hmm. Everything is relative. And as long as you're making millions upon millions of dollars, you probably are still going to wind up paying millions and millions of dollars in taxes and still having millions of dollars left over. This is not about socialism. It's not about redistribution of wealth or any of that. It's really about pay your fair share of taxes. Everybody's not able. Everybody's not a wealthy millionaire entertainer, and you gotta do what you're supposed to do. Anyway, Fitty, sorry, not this shit, bro.
Okay, so now I'm making my roux. For those people who are actually watching, you can see the food cam. So once you melt your butter, you put some flour on top of your butter.
We real fancy with the whole food cam, and you can see what's on it. Real fancy.
5 minutes is okay. So so you make your roux. Oh Lord, I'm turning my flour down. This is kind of the same way you make gravy too. For those people who make gravy, I mean, you're not doing anything but making a roux and then add you add whatever your broth is to your gravy. So you're gonna make this roux. You're gonna make this roux until it's kind of like a golden brown. What happened? We're gonna add the noodles after I make the roux and add the milk. So you're gonna make this roux. We'll add the cheese in a second. Make this roux. And again, you have to kind of continue to stir it and pay attention. Little boy. Listen, we Black parents over here be coughing all over the food. We gotta eat this. And so you just continue to stir this until it gets golden brown, but you gotta watch it because if it burns and it's ruined, you gotta start all over again. and that's wasted. We don't like to waste food in these parts, so you don't want to waste it. Be careful because it's hot. Okay, who's next on your?
So listen, my ultimate uninvited to dinner, Christmas dinner this year is a brother by the name of Daniel Cameron, and I know a lot of you know the name. He is actually the Attorney General for the state of Kentucky, and I think it's appropriate that he takes us into the break. A lot of you probably assumed that because he was one of the so-called, Black Republican spokespeople for the RNC at the convention, that would put him on our disinvite list, and it does not. What I have an issue with.
Pause. It put him on my. Anybody that's Black and a Republican who was supporting Trump.
So anyway, is
on my disinvite.
But what puts him on the list is at the end of the day, he is an attorney, and he is the top prosecutor for the state of Kentucky. We know now that not only was what happened to Breonna Taylor an absolute disgrace, of a sin and a shame before God, what happened to that girl, but once the facts started coming out and it was discovered that not only did he preside over how the case would be prosecuted, but helped to engineer and steer that grand jury not getting the facts about what actually happened and not getting the facts about how they could charge and how they should charge in that case, it wound up with those officers not being convicted of murder, which is probably what should have.
Just being charged with what was charged in that case was not even relative to Breonna Taylor. It's my understanding that he didn't even present any evidence relative to Breonna Taylor's murder. What was charged was the potential harm to the neighbors because the bullet went through the wall.
So it was an embarrassment that they got charged with. You could have killed somebody in the next apartment over with your carelessness. That's what they got charged with and got convicted. It's a shame. So Daniel Cameron, you are what?
Uninvited.
All right, listen. We're gonna go to break.
He wants to put the cheese in the cheese. It's coming, baby. It's coming.
We're gonna go to break. When we come back from break, we're actually gonna talk to you about some of the individuals that we've decided to actually invite to Christmas dinner. So I'm actually excited about that. Yeah. Some surprises in that list. Stay tuned.
We'll be back.
Makes us feel right. I'm just getting off the train. Haven't seen my minute work all day.
Hello, Kubo. What have you got planned for today?
Come on, this way.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
It's the most powerful magic there is.
Head outside to discover incredible animals.
Wow.
And beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure. So grab your loved ones and explore a world of possibilities. Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
My teacher said that we should have a plan in case of an emergency. Do we have one?
First thing I'm gonna do is grab a flashlight with dead batteries.
I'm going to start randomly throwing clothes in the bag. You two will be hiding in the closet and Dad won't be able to find you.
And that's when we both start crying.
Uncontrollably. Can you pass the cutlets?
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311. Brought to you by the New York City Office of Emergency Management and the Ad Council.
When it comes to reality radio, everyone is a star.
I know that's right.
On your smooth soul and R&B station.
On the World Wide Web.
Access granted.
In Touch Radio.
The Storks are bringing me a baby brother. We can do this together.
All right, let's go.
Storks know how to keep kids safe. Do you?
What?
Oh my gosh, you don't know.
I know.
You don't?
Oh man, you laugh when you're uncomfortable.
No.
Making sure your child is in the right car seat is one of the steps to safer travel.
I will rock this.
You will rock this.
To know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
Cool. Very cool.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan.
Separated.
We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
I had no idea how to find each other.
The whole experience was fine.
the most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Message.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Wherever we go, we about to bring on the positive vibe.
right.
Wherever we go, we are gonna do what makes us feel right.
That's excellent. Let me tell y'all something. My wife is an excellent cook. The reason why we are married today is because of what you are observing. The reason why I'm fat.
You're not fat. We have gained weight over COVID. And I will tell you, I got this new air fryer in this bag. I have been cooking I made Jamaican beef.
Air fries cereal.
And that's not true. I made Jamaican beef patties. I made 2 bread puddings. Miles and I on his show later are gonna make homemade bagels. I've been like a cooking storm. It calms me. I don't want to eat it though, but it calms me.
My wife is an outstanding cook. So today we're talking about holiday traditions in our community, which is Christmas dinner. Christmas dinner is a family tradition, and as you know, sometimes you kind of fall out with family throughout the course of the year. Sometimes things happen, issues happen, and certain family members get disinvited. They might not stay uninvited, but they do get uninvited. What are we doing?
Okay, so if you all were paying attention, our brew was getting dark, and it gets dark quickly, so you have to do it pretty quickly. Good job. And so we poured in some heavy cream to get rid of that, and we're gonna pour in some milk. Not a lot of milk, but just enough. You wanna help me? Be careful because it's hot. Okay, we're gonna pour in the milk. Okay. Goodness gracious. So I didn't measure that, so I don't know how much. I don't measure much stuff. I just kind of go with what I think.
Because she's a natural.
Okay, and so right, I told you it's hot. Give this so I can put it. All right, so now Miles, you can add your cheese.
No, I already add your cheese.
Okay, that's fine. Add whatever cheese you want.
So our special guest today on the show is the star of his very own cooking show. You actually see him on Facebook Live as well. This is Miles' Cooking.
You get your hand close so you don't.
And he's now adding the cheese to our roux. You see how I'm talking like I know what I'm talking about. First, you make your roux. You have to make sure that you stay on top of it so that it doesn't get too dark. And then you have your 5-year-old add the cheese by taking it and throwing it into the solution
and make a mess in the process.
But that's what you got. But that's what you got to do.
Okay.
This is lovely. So mac and cheese is actually one of my favorite things. As Monica mentioned, my oldest daughter is kind of the queen of mac and cheese, and so we're trying to get my wife to a place where she can kind of take over that.
So my mac and cheese was not bad before, but Alicia's was just super cheesy, and it was it's really, really good.
My daughter makes cracked macaroni.
So, wait, don't throw them, buddy. Just put them in. All right, so we're just adding the cheese. It takes a minute for the cheese to melt. And so you have like a little whisk. And if you whisk it together, let it cook a little bit.
Whisking it. See, that's not like stirring. See, us country people, we just stir stuff.
I mean, you could.
When you bougie, you can whisk.
No, you can stir it too. You can do either one. Okay, Miles, hold on just a second.
You know who, I guess my last uninvited, who gets uninvited? She actually got invited
Stop throwing the cheese
a long time ago. Because I think she kind of got herself jammed up in something, and NAACP decided to come to her defense, and so she was kind of all down with NAACP and the cause, and so that's kind of how she first kind of came to prominence, if you will. And I don't even know this young lady's story. Y'all know I'm talking about Candace Owens. I don't know what her story is. I really don't. At some point, something went right, and she just decided that there's no amount of self-hate that's just too over the top for her. I don't know what it is that happened to her and people of African descent. Just drop it, buddy. But something happened to where she thinks it's her role, and I think it was this year after the what do you need, Dave?
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
After the George Floyd incident, that she really just kind of did it for me, and that is came out and she thinks that it's her responsibility to remind the public every time an unarmed Black man gets killed by the police, to make sure that you know that the unarmed Black man is probably not that nice of a guy because he's got criminal charges in his history. Let me explain something to you, young lady. You didn't get invited to the RNC.
Right.
You to be one of the people, kind of simple say, you got pimped, you stay pimped, and you stay uninvited to the Christmas dinner. Sorry. But not sorry.
Well, the other part is, and I'm not a Candace Owens fan. I mean, some people will say some of the things that she says are, are true and are accurate. And I don't want to necessarily disagree with that. I think it's some of I don't agree with the things that she says. Not yet. I don't agree with things that she says, but I think some of it is taken out of context because it's the reason, it's the motivation and motive to why she's saying the things that she's saying. She's not saying it in a space of really attempting to help Black folks. It's really to do the bidding of white supremacy, and that's fundamentally what it is. Okay, so what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna season this cheese sauce.
So Candace Owens is what?
Uninvited. My baby wants to put all this cheese in here, and he likes to be the center of attention. Okay, so you're helping, Miles. You're doing a phenomenal job. You're doing a really good job. So, okay, well, wait a minute. We have to let this cheese melt first. We have to let this cheese first. Okay, so I'll put a little bit of onion powder in here.
A little bit.
Okay. All right, we're gonna stir this up. I'll tell you this. Wait a minute. Not right now, because right now we can't use the whisk. It's coming together. We'll use it in a second. We gotta let the cheese melt a little bit more. Okay. All right, keep on. Who's on? So have we moved to the invited list?
So, so I think it's important that we understand and put this into perspective that the Christmas holiday dinner list, you can move on and off of the list. And y'all know what I'm talking about. There's family members that, we have to kind of work through some things, and sometimes they, kind of see the light and they put themselves back in good stead. So I think it's important that we recognize and acknowledge that there are individuals who, there's individuals who rightfully deserve a spot at the dinner table. So, so my first one goes out to Shaq. I'm not a huge Shaq fan, but I do know that he has done incredible things and immeasurable things on behalf of the community.
Except for that Papa John's thing. Listen, someone send him an email or a tweet or a text message or something that says, Shaq, we get it. You can own 50 million different Papa John's. Black folks are not going to eat. I hope Papa John's is not a sponsor for it. In Touch News. Black folks are not going to eat Papa John's. And I, for one, kind of like Papa John's pizza. I also like Hungry Howie's pizza, but that's a rarity in my family.
And none of these people paying us.
Right, and other people, right. But Black people are not going to eat Papa John's anymore. That man came out his mouth and said, so just like if Paula Deen had a cooking show right now, Black folks would not and should not participate in watching Paula Deen on TV. I'm just saying. That's not going to happen. So I get it, Shaq, but someone like send him a SOS sign, smoke signal. I know he's real tall, so y'all just kind of do whatever y'all got to do to talk up there. But we're not probably going to,
Shaq,
eat Papa John's anymore.
Look, here's what happened with Shaq. He did, I think, redeem himself this year. Well, if for anybody who doesn't know, so Shaq doesn't vote. Like he's 48 years old and has never voted. So leading up to this election, what he decided to do was go public. I think he's got his own podcast. And he decided to go public and share with people that he is not a voter, has not voted, and he's got his own reasons for why he never did it. But he voted this time this year for the first time. So and then after that, of course, he also came out and finally admitted that he was voting for Biden. But I like the way he said, look, he felt good after he did it. So I thought I was very impressed by that. And again, it takes a big person to admit when you've been kind of off the rails for whatever combination of reasons, and you admit, look, I was wrong, and I've decided now to use my platform for good, which is what he did. So Shaq, you can come to dinner. Now we've decided to put you at the kids' table. I've not quite figured out how to make that happen because the kids' table, is only so big. So we may make Shaq just hold the
kids' table.
The whole time he's here, and let the kids eat, and then afterwards he can have some macaroni and cheese.
That's so funny. This is not a person that's disinvited, but Charles Barkley, he gets like a takeout container. He can't come
Charles
in.
Get a takeout. Charles
get a takeout container.
Yeah, Charles goes,
because he waffles back and forth. Sometimes you're like, oh, that's really good, Charles, and you like, dude, for real?
Yeah, him and Shaq.
Like he gave money back to what did he give back money to Tougaloo? I forgot it wasn't Tougaloo. What's
one of the Alabama schools.
He's from Alabama. So one either Tuskegee. I think he gave money to Tuskegee. He gave some money to one of the 8 one of the HBCUs in Alabama, and there's a bunch of them. But I think it was Tuskegee, but he gave some money back to Tuskegee.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
So for that reason, he gets he'll get like a takeout container.
I think him and Shaq made some little. We're gonna talk a little bit later about Ken Smith, but him and Shaq, made some comments after in the wake of the protests that were going on this year that were very insensitive. That just didn't make it seem like they really kind of understood what was going on, which is not unusual for wealthy entertainers and athletes. But anyway, thank you, Shaq, for all you do for the Boys and Girls Club, for all you do for the community in general, for all you do for law enforcement. Shaq is overall is a good dude. So
yeah, I agree.
All right, who else?
That is coming to our.
Yeah, who else is it? Who else
is disinvited or invited?
Oh, invited. I'm excited to talk about Michael Steele.
You can talk about Michael Steele.
So I don't know how many people know who Michael Steele is. The name is unless you watch, I think he's on MSNBC. You may not even recognize the name. But Michael Steele is the former chairman of the Republican National Party, and I think he's from Maryland. I think he was lieutenant governor of
he was lieutenant governor of Maryland.
And the history is he kind of rose his way up the ranks of the Republican National Party. He was actually the RNC chairman during the convention here in Tampa. I got an opportunity.
I did not know that.
He was chairman, so I got an opportunity to walk past and saw me out of the crowd. I was working for the hockey team, so I obviously wanted a few black people there. Watch your hand, buddy. So I got an opportunity to kind of give him some nap, as he walked by. But then after he stepped down from that, he joined MSNBC as an analyst, and at some point, the birth of the Lincoln Project happened. Tell our viewers what the Lincoln Project.
So the Lincoln Project is a bunch of Republicans that, the Lincoln Project is a bunch of Republicans that hate Trump. That's the simplistic form, but what it really is true blue conservative think tankers, strategists. You have some Republican conservative pundits that have been really active and engaged in not only the Republican campaigns, but the Republican National Committee. And they have just had their fill of 45. And they came together and they said, you know what, we're going to raise some money and we're going to, that's good, that's it, good. We're going to raise some money and we're going to come out and we're going to do what we can to try to get Biden elected and get some of these Senate seats flipped and some of these House seats flipped.
Let me tell you something, raise some money. They raised millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Yep.
They are probably more Reagan Republicans than anything else.
They call themselves Lincoln, but
they call themselves Lincoln Republicans. Now, Lincoln was actually kind of the first Republican president.
Well, I need Republicans to stop aligning themselves, particularly now. Stop aligning themselves. Not yet. Aligning themselves with Lincoln. Because some of the policies y'all put forth, I don't think Abraham Lincoln would. I don't think Honest Abe would agree with some of the things that y'all doing. But go ahead.
Probably not. But at any rate, if you get an opportunity to watch MSNBC now and you see Michael Steele on MSNBC, I was all in when he made the video, the Lincoln Project video, when he said at the end of the day, he has a choice to make between America and Trump, and he chooses America.
Yeah.
And that's really kind of where we are as a country. It literally is time for us to put our country, our true patriotism back in front of party and our true patriotism back in front of divisive politics. And let's figure out who we are as a nation. And so hats off to Michael Steele. Brother, we would love for you to come in and have Christmas dinner with us.
Yes, come sit
down. Did you hear how heartfelt that
sounded? I'm very proud of you. But you're kind of like a Inderubdeb.
I was registered independent for most of my political life.
He kind of, so we have some heated discussions because I'm a liberal, unapologetic, bleeding heart liberal. Stop, not yet. And so we have some very heated discussions about policy. We don't necessarily agree on all things. I think he did disagree. He did agree with me on this particular political season relative to the presidential election.
I have no choice because I'm an American. I'm a true patriot first. What about, I need an apron?
He's not really doing anything, Miles. He's just talking. He's,
Well, next
there to
time,
look,
you
he's,
know
there, he's there to look cute.
But for Christmas, maybe we can get it. So what are we doing? Before
Okay,
we
so
get into your little boyfriend.
So we've added. So if you kind of tune in late, we cut up our cheese. We melted some butter and add some flour, made a roux, added some heavy cream and some milk. I don't really measure, so I don't know how much is in here. And then we're adding our cheese kind of slowly until the cheese melts, and you want it to be a little thicker than this. And there's still some clumps of cheese in here. No, not yet. We're gonna just add the rest of this cheese. Okay, well, there's a whole block of cheese in the back, baby, that you can eat.
Yeah, I'll chop some of this.
All right, so there we go. So that's all we're doing. Just melting the cheese. So our son is a mouse. He likes cheese.
So while I chop this up,
can I talk about who I want to invite?
Please talk about who you want to invite.
So I have never had a diverse Christmas party at my house. That's not true. So typically Christmas dinner is just family, right? And so, but since we are extending our Christmas table to folks that aren't necessarily blood family, I was going to extend my Christmas table to Steve Schmidt.
So tell everyone who Steve Schmidt is.
So Steve Schmidt, if I remember correctly, he may have been the campaign manager for Ted Cruz when Ted Cruz was running for president. I mean, Steve Schmidt, we don't align politically on any
He's a true conservative.
level. He is like true blue conservative, Reagan, Lincoln, Bush conservative. That's who he is. So we don't align, on lots of different things. I think he may have turned the corner. But baby, when I tell you, if you follow his Twitter, his shade game for Trump should just go ahead and go under a rock, because when Steve Schmidt comes, and Steve Schmidt comes for everybody. He's come from Aaron Coulter. He's come for Rush Limbaugh. He's come for the Senate Republicans, the House Democrats. It matters not. If you are lockstep with Trump unapologetically, Steve Schmidt's gonna come at you. He's come for Matt Gaetz. I mean, he came for Matt Gaetz. Should just go ahead and put his head in the sand, because when Steve Schmidt came for him on Twitter, listen, if you are a Twitter person and you don't follow Steve Schmidt on Twitter, you are missing an opportunity for minutes and minutes of laughter.
Steve Schmidt has neighborhood skills. He plays
the dozens.
He will shred. He will shred you. And he was very active in the Lincoln Project. Made sure that
him, Rick Wilson, a couple other people
that just recruiting people to just call out a con artist for what he is. But he really does have next level skills, and so I would be glad to see him come and sit at the table and break bread with us.
Yeah, so he's on my list. Now, whether or not he comes is different, but he
look. All we can do is just put the invite out.
I'll do is invite him.
We have thousands of people that actually look at our show. So.
Do you have anybody else on your list?
I sure do.
I have one more person.
Yes,
There's an obvious person though, and so this is obvious. We have to have Secret Service and everybody come. But the person that's for 2020, the person who was invited to Christmas dinner for me is Joseph R. Biden, and that's for obvious reasons. I think that he's doing a good job. You want to invite? Okay. Miles, you have people you want to invite?
Yes. Tell everybody who you want.
Kenny Campbell and Morgan.
Okay. Kenny Campbell and Morgan. His cousins are
his cousins, gossipers are invited. So Joe Biden, and particularly now, aside from the election, I think he just gets kudos. We may not agree with all of his choices for his cabinet picks, but I will share with you that he's put more. I don't want to say this because this could be wrong, so y'all fact check me. But he's put a lot of Black folks in his. He's creating a diverse cabinet.
He's probably has one of the more.
He has one of the more diverse cabinets, and so some of the people that he's putting up, whether or not they get through the Senate or not, really kind of depends on whether or not we get the Senate seats. So people in Georgia, if you are watching, ensure that you all go vote in January, or you all can vote now because I think early voting is either has started or is starting. But for sure, he is definitely on the invitation list because I'm excited about 2021 and I can't wait. How many days we have left until this crap show ends? How many days we have left?
I can't even count down, but it's less than 2 months. One of his appointments is the first African-American defense secretary, or selection, I should say, for defense secretary. And that's General Lloyd Austin. General Austin, I got an opportunity to actually meet him as well, because he was stationed at Central Command. I think he was the commander, the general over Central Command here in Tampa. I got an opportunity to meet him. Really solid, really solid brother. So we're looking for exciting things.
All right.
So what are we doing here?
So right now I am taking my whisk, and you want the cheese sauce.
Hey,
y'all
Auntie
are watching.
Della.
You want the cheese sauce to look like this. If you all can, kind of like not too fondue-y, but kind of fondue. You want it to be thick like that. And then we're gonna get our noodles. So the cheese sauce is now done. It's gonna continue to cook. We're gonna continue to stir it. We're gonna go get our noodles. Okay. And then we get our noodles. Come on, we get our noodles. Come on. Okay, well, it's too late now. Come over here. Come on.
Help out. You supposed to be helping out.
And so then we're gonna just take our noodles and we're gonna pour them into our cheese sauce, like so. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. Well, you can stir. And then no, you can't do that either. And because it's hot. And then you're just gonna stir. Yeah, it's really hot. You're gonna stir the noodles into the cheese sauce. Okay, well, I'm sorry, baby. Stir the noodles into the cheese sauce. And just do that, like that. Okay, Miles, I'm sorry. All right.
We'll break all kinds of rules here.
What are you doing?
Stick that in there and just stir it. There you go. There you go.
All right, perfect. All right, get the knife.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miles. All right, and so you're gonna do that. We're gonna turn this eye off. This is really hot. Just kind of flatten it out. And then to make sure it browns, so if y'all can see that, so you mix your noodles in that cheese sauce. I use this pan because this particular pan can actually go in the oven. So I made my cheese sauce in this Dutch oven, this rock crock Dutch oven. You can put your cheese sauce, put your noodles in. You're gonna sprinkle this with some paprika.
Mommy,
wait a minute, baby.
there's a cover for this.
There's no cover for that one. Sprinkle it with paprika. We've been preheating our oven to 385. We're going to take it over here and put it in the oven. As I do that, go ahead and give folks your last invitee.
What is it now? So Miles' cooking is going to be when? Because we want to make
later today. We're going to do later today.
We're going to do Miles' cooking later today because a certain individual is accustomed to kind of having all of the attention on him. So at any rate, so listen. So my ultimate invite is for a brother that y'all might not know the name Kenny Smith. Kenny Smith is a former NBA player, played for many years, and very respected. He was a bad boy too. Played for a couple different teams. But at any rate, he is now an analyst on TNT. They talk about the shows. If you recall, I believe this was maybe the grand jury decision.
It may have been. I don't remember.
At some point, the NBA players made a decision. They weren't playing that night. Done. Yeah. The whole league just said, no, we're not going to do it. The players made a stand and said, enough is enough. We need to have serious conversations about law enforcement. And the shooting of armed and unarmed Black people in this case, but just some serious conversations about law enforcement. The players said no. Kenny Smith happens to be on the same show as Charles Barkley and Shaq, and they came out that pre-game show and started talking about what was going on. And as they gave all of the background to what was going on in the players' decision not to play that night, Kenny Smith decided he wasn't even feeling it. He was in no position to have an intelligent conversation about basketball and about what basketball represented in the wake of the fact of the players' protests. And so Kenny just decided to he took his headset off. He says, guys, I'm sorry, I can't do this today. I'm standing with the players. And he walked off the set on live television. So it was a heavy moment for me, but again, as a Black man, who's on a payroll, who gets paid a salary for doing a job, for him to take that stand really resonated with me. So, Kenny, we would like to, as we close out our show, we would like to invite you to Christmas dinner. We're going to ask you this: we'd be honored to have you sit at the head of the table, and we will give you first opportunity to do the blessing of the Christmas dinner. So
that's pretty huge.
That's
pretty huge in a black house.
Hey, 2020, everything we've been through this year, I think you were the model of really kind of what this year represents for us.
So you all, from our family to yours, we wish you a very Merry Christmas, a safe New Year. If you are in Georgia, please make sure that you vote. We will see you on the other side. I think we're just going to do
another show.
We're going to do another show.
Yeah, we have a recap.
Okay,
we got to recap the year.
We got to recap the year. So we will see you all next Saturday.
Thanks for joining us.
I'll take a picture of
Soul Purpose Show.
I'll take a picture of the finished product and post it on our page.
Be blessed.
Thank y'all.